Millionaire woman ran out of gas, helped by a single mom who had nothing but a kind heart. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across Highway 34, a quiet stretch of road that wound through the rural outskirts of Cedar Falls, Iowa. Victoria Sterling gripped the leather steering wheel of her silver Mercedes-Benz S-Class, her knuckles white with frustration. The car's engine had sputtered to a stop 5 minutes ago, leaving her stranded on this desolate road with nothing but cornfields stretching endlessly on both sides. "This cannot be happening," Victoria muttered, staring at the fuel gauge that mocked her with its needle pointing firmly at empty. At 52, she had built a multi-million-dollar consulting empire from scratch, yet here she was, defeated by something as simple as an empty gas tank. She reached for her phone, but the screen showed no signal bars, of course. Victoria closed her eyes and took a deep breath, trying to maintain the composure that had served her well in countless boardroom negotiations. But out here, with no cell service and no gas stations in sight, her usual confidence felt as empty as her fuel tank. 20 minutes passed. The sun was beginning to sink lower, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Victoria had tried flagging down the few cars that passed, but they either didn't see her or chose not to stop. She was starting to consider walking when she heard the rumble of an old engine approaching. A weathered pickup truck, its blue paint faded and its bumper held on with what looked like duct tape, pulled over behind her Mercedes. Victoria watched in her rearview mirror as a young woman stepped out. She appeared to be in her late 20s, wearing jeans that had seen better days and a simple grey t-shirt. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and she moved with the purposeful stride of someone accustomed to solving problems. "Mom, you having car trouble?" the woman called out as she approached Victoria's window. Victoria rolled down the window, feeling oddly self-conscious about the contrast between her designer blazer and this stranger's humble appearance. Yes, actually. I ran out of gas. I know it sounds foolish, but oh, that's not foolish at all," the woman interrupted with a warm smile. "Happens to the best of us. I'm Sarah, by the way, Sarah Mitchell." "Victoria Sterling," she replied, surprised by the genuine kindness in Sarah's voice. Sarah glanced at the gas gauge through the window and nodded knowingly. "Well, you're in luck. I've got a spare gas can in my truck. Always keep one for emergencies." She paused, studying Victoria's expensive car and clothes. "This your first time driving through this area?" "Yes. I was heading to a business meeting in Des Moines. I thought I had enough gas to make it, but apparently I miscalculated." Victoria felt heat rise to her cheeks. She wasn't used to admitting mistakes, especially to strangers. "Des Moines, huh? That's still about 40 miles from here." "Good thing. I came along when I did." Sarah walked back to her truck and retrieved a red gas can from the bed. As she unscrewed the cap on Victoria's car, she continued talking. "I was just coming back from picking up my daughter Emma from her friend's house. She's 8, and she's been begging for a sleepover all week." Victoria watched Sarah work, noting the ease with which she handled the situation. "You do this often? Help stranded motorists?" Sarah laughed, a sound that seemed to lighten the entire evening. "Well, not often, but my dad always taught me to help folks when you can. He used to say, 'Sarah, kindness doesn't cost you anything, but it might be worth everything to someone else.'" As Sarah poured the gas into Victoria's tank, Victoria found herself studying this woman more closely. There was something about Sarah's demeanor, a combination of strength and gentleness that Victoria rarely encountered in her business world. "That's very wise advice. Your father sounds like a good man." "He was," Sarah said softly, her smile becoming wistful. "Lost him 3 years ago, but his words stuck with me." She finished pouring and screwed the cap back on both containers. "That should be enough to get you to the next gas station. There's a Shell about 10 miles up the road." Victoria reached for her purse, pulling out her wallet. "Please let me pay you for the gas and for your time." Sarah held up her hand, shaking her head firmly. "No, ma'am, I don't want your money. Like I said, just helping out." "But surely, really, it's okay. Gas cost me maybe $5. Consider it a welcome to Iowa gift." Sarah's smile was so genuine that Victoria felt something stir in her chest, an unfamiliar warmth that had nothing to do with gratitude and everything to do with being genuinely moved by a stranger's kindness. Victoria tried once more. "At least, let me give you something. I own a consulting company and I could—" "Ma'am, I appreciate it, but I'm good. Really." Sarah was already walking back toward her truck. "You just drive safe, okay? And maybe keep an eye on that gas gauge next time." As Sarah climbed into her truck, Victoria called out, "Wait! I don't even know how to thank you properly. Could I at least get your phone number? I'd love to send you something as a thank you." Sarah paused, one hand on her truck door. For a moment she seemed to consider it, but then she shook her head. "Again, no need for all that. Just, if you ever see someone else who needs help, maybe pay it forward. That's thanks enough for me." With that, Sarah started her truck and pulled away, leaving Victoria standing beside her Mercedes in a cloud of dust and disbelief. In her 52 years, Victoria had never encountered such selfless kindness from a complete stranger. In her world, every favor came with strings attached, every gesture had an angle, but Sarah Mitchell had asked for nothing in return. Victoria got back into her car and started the engine, which purred to life immediately. As she drove toward the Shell station Sarah had mentioned, she couldn't stop thinking about the encounter. Something about Sarah's humble generosity had touched a part of Victoria's heart that had been dormant for years, a part that remembered what it felt like to connect with people on a purely human level, without contracts or negotiations or ulterior motives. By the time Victoria reached Des Moines and checked into her hotel that evening, she had made a decision. She was going to find Sarah Mitchell again, and she was going to find a way to properly thank her, whether Sarah wanted it or not. But first, she had some research to do. 2 weeks later, Victoria Sterling stood in the parking lot of Peterson's hardware store in Cedar Falls, Iowa, clutching a manila folder full of information she'd gathered about Sarah Mitchell. What had started as a simple internet search had revealed a story that broke Victoria's heart and strengthened her resolve. Sarah was indeed a single mother, working 2 jobs to support her 8-year-old daughter, Emma. She worked mornings as a waitress at Murphy's Diner and evenings cleaning offices downtown. Despite her exhaustion and financial struggles, she volunteered at the local food bank every Saturday and had a reputation around town for helping anyone in need. The folder also contained information that Sarah didn't know yet. Her landlord had filed eviction papers. She was 3 months behind on rent, and despite her best efforts, she was about to lose her home. Victoria had spent those 2 weeks planning carefully. She'd learned that Sarah shopped for groceries every Thursday after her morning shift, always at the small IGA grocery store on Main Street. Victoria had positioned herself across the street, waiting. At 2:47 p.m., Sarah's familiar blue pickup truck pulled into the grocery store parking lot. Victoria watched as Sarah climbed out, checking what looked like a short shopping list before heading into the store. After 15 minutes, Sarah emerged with just 2 small bags of groceries. Clearly, she was shopping carefully within a tight budget. Victoria approached as Sarah was loading the bags into her truck. "Sarah?" Sarah turned, and her face lit up with recognition and surprise. "Victoria, what are you doing here? Don't tell me you ran out of gas again." Victoria laughed nervously. "No. Thankfully, I've been more careful about that. Actually, I came looking for you." Sarah's expression became cautious. "Looking for me? Why?" "Because I never properly thanked you for helping me that day. What you did, it stayed with me. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it." "Oh, that." Sarah waved her hand dismissively. "Really, it was nothing. I'm just glad you made it to your meeting okay. It wasn't nothing to me, Victoria said firmly. Sarah, in my line of work, I meet a lot of people. Most of them want something from me. You were the first person in years who helped me and asked for absolutely nothing in return. That means more than you know. Sarah looked uncomfortable with the praise. Well, like I said, that's just how I was raised. Victoria took a deep breath. Sarah, I need to ask you something, and I want you to be honest with me. Are you having trouble making ends meet? Sarah's posture stiffened immediately. Why would you ask that? Because I care. Because someone who showed me such kindness shouldn't be struggling, and I have the means to help. I don't need charity, Sarah said quickly, her voice carrying a note of pride that Victoria recognized and respected. It wouldn't be charity, it would be gratitude. Victoria opened the folder she was carrying. Sarah, I had my assistant do some research. I know about the eviction notice. I know about your 2 jobs and how hard you're working to take care of Emma. Sarah's face flushed red. You had no right to... You're right, I didn't. But I did it. Anyway, because I couldn't bear the thought of someone like you struggling when I could help. Victoria pulled out a business card. I own Sterling Consulting. We help businesses improve their operations and profitability. I've been looking for someone to head up our new Cedar Falls branch office. Sarah stared at the card without taking it. I don't know anything about consulting, but you know about people. You know about solving problems. You know about hard work and integrity. Those are the qualities I need most. Victoria placed the card on Sarah's truck hood. The position would pay $75,000 a year to start, with full benefits and opportunities for advancement. All I'd need is for you to take some training courses, which the company would pay for. Sarah was quiet for a long moment, staring at the business card. Why are you doing this? Because 2 weeks ago, you gave me something more valuable than gas. You reminded me what genuine kindness looks like. You showed me that there are still people in this world who help others simply because it's the right thing to do. Victoria's voice became softer. I've spent so many years focused on building my business that I forgot what really matters. You reminded me. I don't understand. Victoria smiled. My company makes millions of dollars every year, Sarah, but until I met you, I'd forgotten what it felt like to be truly moved by another person's character. That night, driving away from you, I realized that all my success meant nothing if I couldn't use it to help people like you, people who deserve better than they're getting. Sarah picked up the business card, studying it carefully. This is real? You're serious about this job offer? Completely serious. And if you're worried about Emma, the job comes with flexible hours and excellent childcare benefits. She could even come to the office after school if needed. For the first time since Victoria had approached her, Sarah's guard began to drop. I don't know what to say. Say you'll think about it. Say you'll give me a chance to show you the same kindness you showed me. Sarah looked up at Victoria, and there were tears in her eyes. You don't understand. I was so scared. The eviction notice, Emma asking why we might have to move again. I've been praying for a miracle. Maybe we were both meant to run out of gas that day, Victoria said gently. Sarah laughed through her tears. Maybe we were. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment before Sarah spoke again. If I take this job, when would I start? Whenever you're ready. Tomorrow, next week, next month. We'll work around your schedule. Sarah folded the business card carefully and put it in her pocket. Can I ask you something? Of course. That day on the highway, were you really just heading to a business meeting? Victoria hesitated, then smiled sheepishly. Actually, I was driving back from visiting my mother's grave. It was the anniversary of her death and I'd spent the day at the cemetery. I was so lost in my thoughts that I completely forgot to check my gas gauge. Oh, Victoria, I'm so sorry. Don't be If I hadn't run out of gas that day, I never would have met you. And I think my mother would have liked that her anniversary led to something beautiful like this." Sarah wiped her eyes and extended her hand to Victoria. "When do I start, boss?" Victoria shook Sarah's hand firmly, feeling a warmth spread through her chest that had nothing to do with business success and everything to do with human connection. "How about Monday?" As they stood in that grocery store parking lot, both women knew their lives had changed forever. Sarah would go on to become one of Sterling Consulting's most successful managers, eventually opening 3 more branch offices across Iowa. Emma would grow up with opportunities her mother had never dared to dream of. But more importantly, Victoria had rediscovered something she'd lost along her path to success, the joy of genuine human kindness and the profound satisfaction that comes from using your blessings to lift others up. Sometimes the most important journeys begin when we run out of gas. The end. Thank you for watching this story unfold with us here on M&A The Story Unfolds. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new tale. We'd love to know where you're watching. Leave a comment below and tell us what part of the world you're joining us from. Your support means everything. See you in the next story.